I am 1 year into a spinal cord injury and I am still rebuilding my life. To me, my life is still in shambles, but on paper, I have actually accomplished a lot. I have created an entirely new career for myself. I'm a working model in a wheelchair. I'm agency represented. I'm a full-time content creator. So I just wanted to share with you guys what has helped me the most get from point below zero to the point I'm at now. And it's something that I'm now calling the disabled supermodel mindset. When my spine injury happened, I completely lost my sense of identity. So much of who I thought I was tied into my abled body. My interests, my hobbies, my career, my friendships, my relationships, all of those things centered around some form of physical activity. I didn't have a partner I could stay with or any family members who could help support me financially. So I had to rebuild my life immediately. I'm in the hospital, I'm supposed to be recovering, and all I could think of was, how am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna start to buy food after this? How will I get through this? How can I possibly survive life in LA as a disabled woman? So I did not have the luxury of a slow recovery. I had to pivot fast. Disability payments can take ages to get approved, and I heard that they were only around $1,000 a month. In LA, for a crumbling studio apartment with stairs everywhere is about $2,500 on average. So I had no idea what rent on an accessible place would be, because most accessible places are only in luxury buildings. So now out of nowhere, I have zero income and zero savings. I'm processing not being able to walk anymore, and I am also in a financial panic. There were no blueprints for this. I needed someone to look up to, someone who had been through exactly what I was going through with no external support, but had made it out the other side and was now living a life I would have wanted, whether I was able-bodied or not. That was really important to me. I didn't want to just suddenly become disabled and hate my life. I honestly couldn't find that, so I created her. I created an alter ego for myself called Stella, the spinal cord injury supermodel. She was the highest potential that I could visualize for myself as a disabled woman. A different version of me that I could look toward. Someone who could hold my life together and actually make it better. That is how the disabled supermodel mindset started. Was it delusional? Yes. And it still is, but delusion is the only thing that keeps me moving forward when I don't have any physical proof that things are going to be okay, when I can't see an example. So that delusion is what keeps me going. If I waited for proof that things would turn out the way I want them to, I would never have moved in a step in any direction to this day. The supermodel wasn't just some fantasy. She was a direction to move towards. She was my North Star in the darkest night, guiding the way. When I started making choices as what would the supermodel do instead of what would my old self do, everything in my life started to change completely. I want to be crystal clear with you guys. I'm not sitting here pretending like I've got it all figured out. I'm still in a financial panic, but my life has improved greatly, and I will always keep it 100 with you guys. I built my platform off being authentic and vulnerable and honest with you guys, and I plan to keep doing that, but my life is improving, and you're watching the growth process unfold in real time. So what started as a survival tool became my blueprint for everything. The spinal cord injury supermodel helped me rebuild my life, cope with being disabled, take better care of myself, raise my dating standards, raise my self-esteem, create an entire career, manage my time, and just attract better energy overall. 1 year in, and I genuinely love my life, and I fully embody the supermodel. I am her and she is me. There's no separation. I am the world's first spinal cord injury supermodel. I'm just not at my full potential yet, but I know I'll get there because every day I wake up and I move energy in the direction of my dreams, in the direction of the highest self that I visualized for me, no matter what's going on. So that's why I wanted to make this video. That's what I want to talk to you guys about today. The 2 core mindset shifts that helped me get to this place where I am today. So mindset shift number 1. Create a new identity. The first mindset shift I already described a little bit. It was creating a new identity on purpose, not waiting to see who I would just organically become after my injury. You just wait to find out who you become organically after such a traumatic experience. I think organically I would have become miserable, jaded, resentful, down on my luck. I chose to leave everything about my old life behind and become someone new entirely. All the past Stella, all the previous programming, I left it in the hospital with my legs. I was discharged from the hospital on January 1st, 2025. From that day forward, I have been becoming the supermodel. I had to get really clear on who Stella, the SCI supermodel, was. What did she like to eat? What did she look like? How did she dress? What were her morning routines like? Her nighttime routines? What kind of people did she date? What was her career? What kind of jobs did she book? Where did she live? What did she think about? I wrote out every detail of her personality and her life until it felt real. It's something that I still do as I continue to grow. I'm constantly updating my journal with a more evolved version of Stella, the spinal cord injury supermodel. The disabled supermodel is not limited by my injury, my disabilities, or my circumstances. She is designed by my wildest dreams. This self-concept is what has stopped me from getting stuck in the grief of who I used to be. It was so easy to spend hours looking at old pictures of me boxing, working out, hiking with friends, wishing I could go back. And that grief is still valid. It still hits me sometimes, and I know that it will always probably come and go in waves. I accept that. At some point, I realized I was getting stuck. On a nightly basis, I was doing this for hours, and those are hours that I could spend building a new life, building the life of my dreams. As the supermodel, I tried to stop staring at the past, start living in the present, and getting excited about the future. The clearer I got about who the supermodel was, the more I just naturally acted like her. Not pretending, not faking, just being in alignment, one tiny choice at a time, one habit at a time. She used to feel like just a fantasy, like a separate character, but now I feel like I am truly living her life. I am her and she is me. There's not really much of a difference anymore. I feel like the ground floor version of her. I am the entry-level spinal cord injury supermodel. Mindset shift number 2. Center yourself and stop abandoning yourself for others. Unfortunately, I have run out of daylight in the middle of filming this video, which is only supposed to be like a 10-minute video, but I swear to God, the light goes down at like 3 p.m. now. So I'm just gonna go through it with this shitty light. I'm gonna try to get through it as quickly as possible since my light is terrible, so I'm just gonna read from my notes. It'll make it a little bit easier. Before I was trying to memorize it because it looks better for you guys, but we'll see how it goes. The second mindset shift was learning how to center myself and stop abandoning myself. And the first place I realized I had been doing that was with other people. For years, I gave my time, energy, and emotional bandwidth to people who drained me. Always available, always responding, always on the phone, listening to drama and gossip, giving advice, defending people unconditionally. I thought being needed meant I was being valued. But when I ended up in a hospital room alone for a month, not one of those people showed up. Not a single one. That was a big wake-up call. People didn't fail me because I was unworthy. They failed me because I had built a life where I wasn't as important to others as they were to me. People failed me because for years I had abandoned myself and the world was just reflecting that back to me. Centering myself started with pulling that energy back, not giving people more space in my life than I gave myself, becoming my own #1 priority. Another huge way I abandoned myself was through men and the emotional way I gave romantic attention. My mood used to hinge on whether or not I got a text back. I'd spiral, overthink, lurk, rehearse arguments, and fall apart emotionally. It came from fear of being unlovable, fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, but that fear made me act in ways that actually pushed people away, which made the fear come true. I was creating the exact scenario that I was terrified of. Here, I completely reprogrammed that. I decentered men. I stopped chasing. I stopped trying to convince others of my value and instead became self-assured of it. I stopped hoping some mid-man would finally see me as special, and it stopped mattering to me because I finally see my own self as special. I stopped over-investing and attaching too early. Now I let men invest effort in me before I consider reciprocating. If they don't, then there's nothing for me to get attached to. See how that works? If someone's energy feels off, I step back. If someone's inconsistent, I focus on my goals. Why let someone occupy space in my mind when I could be bettering myself and attracting even better? When I stopped abandoning myself for men, I started experiencing completely different types of men. Successful, attractive, kind, consistent, respectful men. It is still common to find avoidant men in LA. I'm not gonna lie. But I think that's a societal issue currently, and it matters less to me now because I am now mirroring energy and I'm not afraid to move on at any moment. Now that daylight is giving midnight, but still we persist. So what I was saying is the craziest thing about all of that with the dating is that I thought becoming disabled was going to make my dating life worse or maybe even impossible, but it actually got better. This has nothing to do with being in a wheelchair and everything to do with my new self-concept. I also realized self-abandonment wasn't just about people, it was also about things. I would freeze, procrastinate, disappear anytime things overwhelmed me. Now choosing myself means I show up for myself no matter what. Sometimes that looks like spending a whole day in bed because my body just can't go on anymore. Sometimes it's finishing content because I need to pay my phone bill in a few days. Sometimes it's standing up for my rights or my boundaries like a grown-ass woman who actually believes in herself. I released hustle culture from my DNA. I do less now with way more intention. Slowing down doesn't mean doing nothing. It means sometimes I move at a snail's pace or sometimes I move at turbo speed depending on my body's capacity that day. I don't believe in manifest by sitting back and doing nothing, but I also don't believe in grinding myself into a nub to be worthy of a good life. I move at my own pace, a pace that is right for me, that is dictated by me, but I always move forward. Those are the two major mindset shifts that really changed my life this year. I'm still evolving, still learning, still figuring it out. But these things really helped me rebuild when everything felt impossible. If you're going through something similar or rebuilding your life for any reason, I hope that something in this video gave you at least a little bit of hope. And if it did, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And let me know if you guys want a part 2 because I have so much more to say about not just mindset shifts, but the more literal ways of how I transmute nothing into something, how I make money, all that sort of thing. And I'm not saying I have a lot of it. I don't, but I have something, which is more than I started with, which was nothing.